RUINSMAGUS is a story-driven VR JRPG about dungeon crawling as a mage. The game came out this past Thursday, and I've gotten a good few hours under my belt to gather my early thoughts. I'll be doing a full review next week, but for now, these will be my first impressions. If you're new here, welcome Virtual Dreamer. My name is Gregory. Subscribe and share the video if you haven't already, and let's get right into this. The game begins right away with a tutorial on the fundamental gameplay. You can use one hand to cast spells, the other hand to block attacks, and you move around with artificial locomotion to dodge attacks and progress. You take the role of a new magi, paired up with Iris, a researcher, to explore and gather resources from the guild's labyrinth ruins. As time passes on, new discoveries, twists, and turns arise as you become more familiar with the world, its circumstances, and the people within it. While I'm only a few hours into the game, there are a lot of things about it that have me hungry to keep playing. For starters, the game is absolutely gorgeous. The animated art direction they've taken here is spectacular. Characters are vibrant, emotional, and ooze personality at every given moment through their very expressive designs and animations. The environments set the tone for scenes wonderfully, with ruins feeling vast and mysterious and the town areas feeling relaxed and inviting. I've stopped to gaze at the world and characters on more than one occasion, and I'm glad they included a camera for taking photos for just this purpose. RUINSMAGUS has some of the most appealing art I've seen in a VR game to date, with only Half-Life Alyx or Asgard's Wrath posing any real comparison. When you consider that the game looks practically identical whether you're playing on PC or the Quest 2, and this is almost without a doubt the most aesthetically pleasing Quest 2 game I've ever played as well. The bar has been raised dramatically. The same care that's gone into the visuals has thankfully been translated into the gameplay as well, with attacks utilizing plenty of particle effects and animations to really get you into the rhythm of battle. At this time, all the fighting I've done has consisted of ranged magic attacks, with there being options to change out the spell types you use or make use of items in combat. You have a main gunner type spell that allows you to apply constant pressure, a pair of secondary special spells that allow you to apply damage effects or hit broader areas, and finally an ultimate spell that can be unleashed to deal massive damage. Combine this with the blink movement technique that essentially allows you to teleport out of the way of hazards, and the shield system that allows you to either block attacks or parry them right back if you time your grip right, and you get a simple but effective combat system that can allow you to tackle some really impressive foes. Basic enemies are relentless, with attack patterns that you need to learn to handle and forms that can change up how you need to approach them. Throw in that enemies most often come in groups, and you'll find yourself ducking, weaving, and blinking around the battlefield in a dance of magic and defense. All this serves to prepare you ultimately for the major enemies in the game, which consists of rogues and boss monsters of the labyrinth. These foes often combine attack patterns of multiple enemies on top of throwing in their own specialties into the mix, serving as true tests of your combat awareness and adaptability. I've only fought 4 bosses in the game so far, with one of them being included right in the free demo that is available on Steam, so definitely check that out if you're interested in the game. But I find myself being truly immersed in the battles throughout my time in the game so far. This immersion, I must note, is being wonderfully supported by the game's spectacular soundtrack and sound design. Starting right from the menu, you'll be graced by the game's adventurous fantasy themes, which wonderfully match the feel and pace of the game's story and gameplay. It's crescendoed at the right times to punctuate big combat moments, and relaxed when necessary to allow me to bask in the vibes of the calm town. This music is accompanied by some solid sound design elsewhere, as the game's battle sounds and voice acting are pretty solid too. Whether it's the roar of massive enemies or the satisfying clinks and clanks of your gauntlet reloading its magic, I find myself engrossed in the game's world on a visual and auditory level. John Carmack was right, people. We need more voice acting in VR. Iris is an adorable character, and I will listen to everything she says. All these things have been making the process of working my way through the game's story a delight. While there aren't a huge number of characters, there's a good amount of voice acting throughout the narrative, and each performance has been solid. While I spotted a few minor typos in the translated text, it hasn't been enough to take away from things, though admittedly my being able to understand Japanese lessened how much attention I actually even paid to the text. The story itself hasn't been anything particularly worth writing home about, though I find just experiencing it at all is far more engaging thanks to it being in VR and something I can experience firsthand. Moments that would probably have come across as cliche or hammy if played in a normal gaming setting felt epic or endearing thanks to the perspective that being there gave me from the VR nature of things. Being saved by a powerful ally feels a whole lot better when you're able to fight alongside them and have a proper perspective on just how screwed you were without them. Exaggerated anime performances hit different when you can see all their animations up close and personal. I agree, Iris. This noble is a total prick. Let's shove his shiny golden scepter right up his ass. In a way, it feels a bit like I'm actually playing a role in a story, which, you know, is kind of the point of the whole role-playing game genre. It's truly gotten me excited for the future of storytelling in the VR medium. So far, RUINSMAGUS is really living up to a lot of the things I was hoping for from a VR JRPG back when I made a video hoping to see VR JRPGs back in April. The stellar visuals pull me into the world. The gameplay makes me feel like a badass on an adventure. The sound design elevates the experience into wonder, and the story engages me with the characters and role. The game has a free demo that covers a good chunk of the first hour of the game, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. I'll be doing a full review once I've beaten the game, which should happen sometime next week, although I'm hoping it happens later in the week rather than earlier since I'm kind of having a lot of fun here. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that video when it drops, and consider donating to my Patreon to help me out. Till next time, virtual dreamers, this has been Gregory, logging out.